Recording is in progress. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a work in progress. And because of what I was diagnosed with some nasty stuff, and this is something that everybody needs to pay attention to.
Okay.
It's very important. It's very important. So thanks for having me. And I'm glad that I can share this with everybody.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for taking the time to share your transformation. So you were diagnosed with,
It was nasty stuff. So December of 2024, a few months before that in August, I had blood work done and my PSA levels were high. So if anybody knows PSA levels, they then can connect what I'm talking about. So my PSA levels were slightly high. The max is like 4 before people are like, "Oh, we have a concern." Mine was up like around 6 or 7. So I went to some of the quote unquote people in this field, and at that point, they said, we want to do a biopsy. Now, first, I want to let everybody know I'm not a doctor. I'm speaking based on what I've experienced on my behalf. I know you're not a doctor as well,
right.
which baffles me because people think that you have to have certain degrees in order to talk about certain things, and that's not the case. You just have to be able to listen and focus and understand on what about the people are talking about. So for me, they were talking about doing a biopsy, and I was like, oh, I wasn't sure. Then I started speaking with you, and you said I really wouldn't recommend it based on all the experiences that you had and all the understanding you have on it. And I did it anyway, and it was something that I would highly investigate before recommending anybody doing it, based on my experience and my now understanding of what that really is. There's other ways to figure out the same exact stuff that you can with the biopsy. So there's options. And this is why I wanted to speak about my whole experience in transformation, because there's an option outside of surgeries, medicines, chemos, all this stuff. There are other options. Excuse me, bug. I'm in the mountains, so the bug. So for me, so I did the biopsy. They came back and said, "Oh, you have some nasty stuff happening inside of you." And I was like, okay. Immediately, they were like, surgery, chemo, medicines, all this stuff. We want to get it out. If you don't get it out right away, for the lack of better words, they pretty much told me you will die soon. And I'm like, well, so they wanted to schedule everything right away. They didn't want to give me an option to even remotely talk about it, think about it. So
Right.
that's when I called you up. So for all those, I want to have a little bit of a disclaimer. So I've known Erica for many years, and when you have someone like her in your life, it's not a temporary thing. It's an always consistent thing, because when you start understanding about what your body can do and how it can heal itself, and you have somebody that can guide you and help you with that, it then it translates to any problem you have in life, whether it's relationship, whether it's anxiety, whether it's stress, whether it's your job, whether it's family, it doesn't matter. So, and even on a side note, there's other things that happened that I had to call Erica about and say, hey, I need help. So now back to the situation. I called and she goes, okay, let me get a hold of you. Let's talk about this. And
Explain.
I
Right.
told you exactly what they diagnosed me with and what was happening. And for the first and foremost, the important part was getting to the root of the issue, which is what you helped me with. And you have to become very vulnerable. You have to become very open, and this will not work if you do not follow instructions. It
Yeah.
will not
So,
work.
so for everybody who's listening out there who doesn't know what I do, hello, welcome. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, and I've been doing this work for the past 7 years. So I've given hundreds of sessions, and I have learned and I've shared with you these patterns, right? So it comes down to two components. Whenever there's a disease, whenever there's pain, whenever there's alarming bells inside our body, So I personally went through with Hashimoto. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto. There's the throat. I had just finished working with someone who had liver issue, right? The big liver issue. So you've witnessed all this, right? So you witnessed all this, and it comes down to make something complex or simple. Comes down to two things: environment and emotions. So that's how we went about it. That's how we tackled it. There's over time, so I've learned through each session that I've given, and I had to receive many sessions on myself during training, that it comes down to unprocessed emotions according to that particular organ. So if we're dealing with, let's say, myself, when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto, it's because I was not speaking my truth. I was not expressing myself. So whenever there's suppressed emotions and energy, emotions equals energy and motion. So because it's not leaving the body, it's not being expressed. In my case, it was being suppressed around my throat. So that's 50% of the formula. The other 50% is the environment. So I was eating a lot of sugar and my immune system was low, right? So taking in consideration these two parts of the formula, that's how we went about it, right? And with your situation as well.
And that's so for those that are listening, I want to try to make this as minimal as possible because Eric and I, just so you guys know, we are going to be doing a podcast to talk a lot more in depth because this topic goes so far. So before I was diagnosed with this, I had known Erica for years and I was listening, but I really wasn't absorbing as much as I should. Knowing now how our bodies are just these incredible self-healing machines that if we focus on what our bodies can do and help it, then it's going to make the body able to heal that much easier and quicker. So
Right.
for me, and there's so many things, even something that personally I went through just recently, and I want to mention this because it just goes in so many different. It's like a domino effect. You start talking about one thing, and there's so many things that has helped me in my personal life through this transformation. So, what I was diagnosed with, from them telling me that, hey, you will pretty much die, and it was so. I have to mention this as well. It was such a from the phone call saying that it's positive that you have this. It was they tried to bring me down so much. They tried to absorb so much. They brought so much negativity from the phone call. So the phone call, as soon as I answered, hi, Anthony. Oh my God, is there somebody with you? Do you have a family or friend that's with you right now? And the tone was very down, very negative. And I was like, no, I'm a big boy. What's going on? And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, we need to see you right away. Now, from that moment to the moment I walked into the office and to the doctor's office, it was the same thing. You please have a seat because this is I'm so sorry. And it was just such a negative feeling that I had. And I'm like, I felt so defeated. Here's my point about this. If I did not know you, then my life right now, I know for a million% fact would be very bad because I would have to have surgeries. I would have to have chemo. I would have to have this. And even if in the future, everything I would be able to heal from this, my quality of life from that moment to whenever would be so bad. My quality of life right now, I'm probably the strongest I've ever been, if not stronger than I've ever been, even in my teens and my early 20s. My energy is up. My mindset, everything is going in a positive way because of the fact that it's not just the physical, and you have to be ready. So if you have an issue and you talk to Erica, you have to be ready just to sit back and be open. Just open yourself and follow instructions. And if you do, and I'm not saying what happened with me is going to work for everybody, but it's an option that you'd want to seek first. Seek it first. And then, worst case scenario, let's just say that for some reason your body's not responding to anything that's happening. Then you can go back to the original one, but that's usually never the case if you're open, because you're going to get to the root of the issue. And then from there, your mind's going to be so open that any problems that happen in your life moving forward, you're going to say, you know what? Let me call Erica up because now I'm understanding that through the guidance of her experience and her knowledge and her wisdom, through all this guidance, I'm going to be able to get through no matter what life throws at me. Even like in that, so very quick, I'm sorry. So very quick, even something like being a single guy, it's difficult dating out there because social media has such a hold on everybody's mindset that everybody's expectations, they go with what social media feels that they should be entitled to or how they should act or how they should treat somebody. And even recently, I had somebody that I was like, you know what? I really like this person. I feel she really likes me. And then the game started. And then I was like, I don't understand. And that's when I called Erica up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, it's you got to be careful your energy, where you put your energy, who you give your energy to, and it's not for you to understand why they're doing it. It's like a snake. If a snake bites you, you get treated right away for what the venom is causing throughout your body. You don't go chasing the snake saying, "Why did you bite me? Why did you bite me?" Because by that time, and you figure it out, you're going to be dead. So don't try to figure out why they're doing what they're doing. You have to treat what's happening to inside your body. Oh, am I giving the energy to the wrong people? And at that point, why am I chasing after somebody? And I'm like, why are you acting like this? Why are you doing this? And at the same time, it's eating me up inside instead of going to the problem. So that's why I wanted to mention that because now that I have an understanding of how my body responded in such a positive way, and the big diagnosis that they gave me, if it's not gone, it's well outside, well on its way out. And but I have to stay focused. I have to stay mindful. Yeah, I don't use the words like you say. Words have power. I don't sit there and go, I can't afford this. This isn't going to work. I can't do this. I can't get this because then I'm telling the universe, I'm putting it out there. It's not going to work. So it's not going to work no matter
Right.
what.
So I wanted to share, I wanted to share how we approach this, right? So with every single case, whether it's the big or small, whatever type of thing, it always comes down to approaching it holistic. But what does that really mean? All right, people hear holistic, familiar. So what it means is we gotta approach each situation, getting to the root, but also keep in mind, so healing, putting attention to rewiring the mind, the body. So what you're referring to, like, okay, let's reprogram your language, certain words, right? Because words have power. So let's see what's going on through your mind. Now let's make it work for you. What's going on through in your subconscious? What subconscious programs did you take on when you were a kid? And let's see what's working against you. Let's reprogram. Then your body. So we handled it nutrition wise. Okay, what needs to change? What is gonna make you better? So we did the fasting for a few days. You dropped weight, and
Few
then
days, it was a while, but
yes, and then nutrition. So mind, body, your spirit. Everything is energy. You are energy. You're a soul living in this human experience, right? And your nervous system. So your nervous system, if your nervous system has the subconscious programs that took on when you were, 0 and 7, and they're still running, your nervous system is still responding accordingly. So that's why we have to approach it with each part, because you are a holistic being. So what I witness, so when people come to me, typically it's because, well, always they're at rock bottom and they have tried different types of therapies or different approaches. And what I have seen, the reason why they might have gotten some results somewhere, but it's always like they get stuck again or they fall again, and that's because it wasn't done holistically with these 4 parts, right? Mind, body, nervous system, and spirit energy.
Yeah, so and that's what's important to mention from even like this last year and a half. First of all, whenever somebody says they have a traditional therapist, for me, I'm like, when they mention, oh, my therapist, I've had them for 6 years. Well, what the hell do you have a therapist for 6 years for? What are they doing? And have they helped you? For me, after researching, and I know a lot of individuals that because they see something on, again, social media. I know a few that actually went to school to become a hypnotherapist. The thing is with traditional therapists and even hypnotherapists that just take a course, that's fine. But if you don't go through any experiences yourself, then you're just regurgitating what you're reading out of a book or what you're taught. And that's the problem that I had is that I'm like, wait a minute, you can go to 30 different therapists and all they're doing is regurgitating what they know out of a book. And
Right.
it's not productive. It's not, I don't want to, if there's an issue that's affecting your life, the last thing you want to do is waste any time. You want to, like you said, you want to get to the first and foremost, get to the root of the issue. So I'll mention this, I'll get a little bit more personal. We're going to talk about this in the podcast as well, is that we got to be very careful on certain words we got to mention because there are algorithms. And when people are like, why aren't you just saying the words? It's because we know from personal experience when you talk about, when you mention certain words, they will kick you off because they don't want that getting out there. So for
Right.
me, and I feel that this is okay to say. So when I was diagnosed with that nasty stuff, it was due to my PSA. My PSA have to do with men for prostates. Your prostate, and so to get a little bit more personal, is that the reason that we found out, one of the reasons is because I was in a very toxic relationship and some nasty stuff just came out of it. And it was just a horrible experience for me. And that's during the time that my PSA level started rising. And I started developing this issue within my body. And when we got to the root of the issue, it was like, well, wait a minute, your prostate is your sexual organ. Your sexual organ is connected to relationships. And because you went through this bad toxic experience for this time frame, now we can connect the dots. Now we know how to start attacking this. And not only is it the diet for the physical part of it, but it's the mental, it's the spiritual, it's everything. So now that we know kind of pinpointed how this started, now we can attack it from that angle. And that's how I've noticed, even just talking to you through my other stuff, um, it's like, okay, well, wait a minute, we got to figure out where this is coming from. You're not there just to sit somebody down and say, okay, just talk. I listen to you. Okay, let's talk next week. Let's talk next month. Let's talk for the next 10 years. Because what's a revolving door? If you if you didn't if my issues weren't getting resolved, then why would I even want to talk to you? I have friends that I can go talk to.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So now knowing that from that experience, even if I didn't know you previous to that, from that experience, knowing how it's transformed my life and how to start attacking things, that's why when issues arise, I call you because it's like, wait a minute. I know what this issue is. Okay, this last experience with this last girl that I was interested in, and it started gaslighting and all this other stuff. I know what's happening. I just don't know the specifics on how to really attack it and get over it and move forward. And that's where you come in is to me and saying, okay, well, you recognize it. Here's what you should do from recognizing it, moving. And so it's just amazing. Our bodies are made to heal itself. Our bodies are made, our body's so incredible, but we take it for granted like everything.
mean, that is, it's also, we always talk about this, right? Always get to the basics. Let's simplify things, right? So we are created by the creator. That creator created us in his image. So then what does that mean? So everything that we need, right? Like everything is within us. That's what it means.
Or even something to say to me. Yeah, even I'm sorry, even something it just came to me, even something that you said that's very important that we go into denial and we avoid it. And it's how is that making you feel? You know, you said to me, wait a minute, you're talking about this girl the last several weeks. How is it making you feel? And I'm like, I don't feel good. I feel that I'm confused. I don't know where I stand. I feel this and I feel this. Even though she's giving me a little bit, I'm still feeling I don't know where I stand. I feel confused
Exactly.
because like, I
There
want
you
to see
go.
you and I don't want to see you because I'm busy with friends. And you're like, look, if they're telling you you're busy, if they're telling you they're busy, believe them that they're too busy for you because anybody that wants to be with you or get to know you or spend time with you, they will make the time. So you're like,
Like, no,
you feel. And I'm like, it
it's
makes me
always go down to
shit.
how do you feel. Yeah, and that's with everything. Honestly, if we just simple, and you mentioned the word confusion. If we simply, so this is how I coach, everybody, my other clients too. So it's holistic. So relationships, health, all kinds of issues, parenting, children. So with relationships, and what you mentioned earlier as well is that it's not just the way I work is not just about what I learned in school and book. It's because I've been through all these experiences, right? I've been to I've dealt with many health issues. I have 26, 7, I don't know, years of experience with relationships. I am in a secure relationship right now, but in order to get me to where I am right now, I, I had to go through all these relationships and learn. So it's practically what are we doing here? Is we go through all these pains and rise and learn and now share with others like the phoenix. So with relationships, because humans complicate everything, right? They complicate things. And to simplify is, do you feel it's either confusion or clarity? If you're feeling confused, if that person is making you feel confused, then you've got your answer. But if you
Right.
feel secure and you have, you know where you're going, your body has
And I
just
think that's and I think that's the thing though, is that it's for me, so and this is something that you and I are still you're helping me with, is that for me, throughout my life, because of personal experiences, I was sorry, a truck went by. I'm in the mountains and still sometimes a car passed by. So for me, because of my personal experiences from childhood all the way up to like the last even couple years, I was more of an avoidant. I was more of I was almost how this girl was treating me recently without realizing it. So for me, and this is something that you're still helping me with, is that I'm looking at this person as, wait a minute, is she reflecting how I was? And am I here to help her understand you don't have to be like that anymore? And so it was difficult for me to just say, peace, I'm out, because it's like, wait a minute. I hear, so I've learned to pay attention. You're like pay attention to people, how they talk, how they interact and stuff like that. So I hear when this person says, I'm a disaster, and sometimes it's like joking. I'm a disaster. The relationships, this and that. And I'm like, but that's how I was. So now something that you're helping me with is, when do I walk away from that certain situation and that person, knowing that, wait a minute, she is how I was. And it took somebody in my life to realize you don't have to be that way. So that's why I stayed and kind of trying to not convince the person why she should be with me, but to show the person
right.
how she can be treated and how she should be treated. And then it was just, then she became more avoidant because I thought that that was like, when somebody is so used to something, if you eat chocolate ice cream your whole life and somebody gives you vanilla, you're going to be like, no, I still want to stay with that chocolate because that's what I'm familiar with. I'm
And
not
that's
familiar with
because
it.
Why is that? That's because of the nervous system responding to the subconscious. So if this person consciously, let's say she wanted to be with you and all that, but she still has subconscious programs from childhood, which most of you still have that right out there, then the subconscious will always overrule. The subconscious, if the subconscious, for example, has a program through because of her parents or her upbringing, and it says, anyone who gets too close is equal to danger. And her familiar is someone who treats her bad, right? That's her familiarity. So now someone who treats her good is unfamiliar. And the brain does not like unfamiliar. Even though on paper it looks good and it makes sense, but the brain's job is to keep us away from pain and keep us safe. That brain could care less if that person is good for you or if that person is going to make you happy. The brain's job is to keep you away from pain. So if she, let's say, which this is, I've seen this hundreds of times, okay, and I experienced this on myself as well. If growing up she saw this pattern that love is equal to chaos,
Right.
and someone secure and stable shows up, her subconscious, yeah, no, this is not love. You need someone chaotic. And the brain is like, this is unfamiliar. Uh-oh, this is danger. Okay.
And that's what my friends and that say to me, because it's like I learned to stay away from advice on social media, because everything I saw on social media, they're like, oh, well, you have to be like this. You can't show this. You can't express that too soon, because then it's going to be like, oh, he's needy. He's desperate. He's anxious. He's all this stuff. And I'm like, for me, again, like you said, break it down to simplistic. Why would, if somebody likes somebody else, why would you want to keep that in just because that person might accept it? Like, oh, wait a minute, too quick, too blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so then you wait 8 months and then you start showing a little bit. And it's like, then you get to that point where then you can express, and it's like, okay, years pass. This feels natural.
Right.
Well, that doesn't process with me. So going back to the whole transformation, things are becoming more, I have more clarity dealing with situations because of the fact that when I was diagnosed with that nasty stuff, the transformation that I went through with you now allows me to have more clarity going, okay, I recognize this. I don't know exactly how to deal with it. So let me call you up and figure this out. Or it's like, okay, I see these things. I don't have to keep these feelings in, because now we've tapped into my subconscious a little bit. I mean, there's still probably a ton of stuff down there, but we've tapped into it to now where I can recognize and seeing, oh, just because I've experienced when I was little doesn't mean this is how it has to be today. And now when somebody is an avoidant, is when somebody tells me and uses. So for those of you, we're going to be talking more in the podcast, and I know we're like really getting deep into it, but I made choices in my life where I was with somebody, and because of that choice, this is going back 20 some years ago. And throughout, I made certain choices. I was actually incarcerated. So when I meet somebody, it's difficult just to go right away, hey, by the way, I know I just met you 30 seconds, but here's my life story. I want to make sure that this person is, in the right timing and the right, I'm not talking, I'm talking like in, a couple weeks. Anyway, so this same person recently, and this all ties together, found out through a friend that, oh, well, he's been through some stuff in his life. And that was used as the excuse to
Right.
boot me out. And it's like, wait a minute, I really enjoyed talking to you for a year. I really enjoyed a couple of times. I really enjoy all these things. But wait a minute, my subconscious is telling me I should avoid this because this is something that's unfamiliar. When somebody wants to share and give themselves and make themselves available. And I think that's the other thing that scares people off. When somebody makes themselves available, they're like, Well, wait a minute. This is not, I'm used to somebody, you know what? Maybe, no, I guess, I
Exactly.
don't know, all these different things. So now that I'm understanding myself more and I'm seeing that it's being resisted in other people, and that people will use anything that they can get their hands on to get rid of that so they don't have to make it about themselves. It's now my fault that she doesn't want to spend time with me or get to know me. It's now my fault because of my past, which, by the way, something that you told me, my past, I own it. That's my
Oh,
past. That's my journey. That helped me grow. And if I didn't go through that, what kind of person I'd be today.
all the
So,
payments, all the heartburn.
a Harvard or so.
Yeah, that too, because I'm sure it was from something. All the heartbreak, all the diseases, all the accidents, right? Every single pain we had to go through it because we, first of all, so we created it, right? One way or another. And I don't want to, we can't get deep into it. I actually have to wrap this out of it today. It's just a quick intro. Like you said, we're going to be doing the podcast, and we just touch base a little bit of everything with your diagnosis, where you're at today. So happy, you're doing so much better, and sharing your transformation. And it's always a catalyst, right? Whether it's an accident or losing a job or being diagnosed with a horrible disease, we all have a choice, right? So either we get swallowed into this abyss and it takes us, right? And then we just get worse, or we rise from it. And you chose to rise, and you've been working on different areas. So we start from diagnosis, and then the relationships, right? So what's happening here? What's happening is that it was a catalyst. So your diagnosis was a blessing in disguise. It was a catalyst.
Yeah.
Because you got diagnosed, it was it's the catalyst of transformation and shadow work. So you started with that area. You're thinking, oh, I'm just going to work on my body and I'm just going to get to the root of this diagnosis. The wind just wants to make this. You know it. Now it's like, okay, now I got to work on my relationships attachments and my subconscious patterns that I took on when I was a kid. So,
Yeah, and I know we're going to wrap this up, but I need to say that I really want everybody to understand that they do have choices and options outside of what they're initially told. And that I would highly, just on my personal experience, and anybody that wants to hear more, they're going to hear more through the podcast. After you share my information, if they reach out to you and they want to talk to me personally, feel free to share my information, give them my information. I'd be more than
okay.
happy to talk with them, but they do have options based on my own experiences. If I did not know you and have that option or that choice, and I didn't make that choice, if I wasn't open to that choice, then my quality of life would be. I mean, I can honestly say that because I know what the first hat would have been. So, I would highly recommend anxiety, stress, relationships, addictions, medical stuff. Talk, just call her. Talk to
I'm
Erica.
a medical doctor though, right? We gotta make sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get those things what's going on, but at the same time, if I grew up with horses and cattle on a farm my entire life and I knew everything and everything about them, it doesn't take me to go get a veterinary's license to understand how to work on horses and cows. So, I'm a proponent on you don't have to go through the standards to help. And again, yes, we are not doctors. This is what's worked for me. And this is it's a recommendation.
It's shared.
I'm a
So
doctor of life.
yeah, we gotta watch the words, right? We have to be very precise, and this is strictly from what we went through. And I'm gonna speak for myself. So from all the experiences that I went through, from diving deep, right, learning, researching, and then experimenting. So lab rat, right? Always experiment on myself. Okay, trying to learn. This is what I've learned. This is what worked for me, and also what I learned with my clients. What have worked for my clients, and now sharing the experiences. That's it, right? Everybody, again, always consult your doctor, and yeah, like you said, Anthony. Um, We have options. We have different options, and that's our intention to share that.
And the choice and the option that we have is going to be, it's intense. It's very intense. It's very deep, but it's less invasive. And you can always go back to the invasive stuff if you need to. But make that initial choice to get work and get that guidance. And again, be ready. It's intense. What Erica does is no joke. It's gonna get you, but it's also not only gonna help you, but it's gonna help you move on to have a better understanding of everything. And so much is become so clear because of the work that we started back in December of 24. I mean, and in a year and a half, it's so much more has become so much more clear than it has my entire life. So, and then it's now my life is just like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
intense, but
Yeah.
it's intense in such a great way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, I know you got to go. I'm going to wrap.
Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience. Of course, we're going to have many more podcasts because we got to dive deep into so many topics. You
And
know,
we're going to have
yeah.
guests, and we're going to have interactive with people watching. They can ask questions, they can interact with us, and we'll because my experience, people want to make books and movies out of my entire life experience and what you've been experiencing and what you've been through and your training and everything is just, yeah, so it's going to be the guests we're going to have on. I already have several lined up. I know you have celebrity specialists. It's going to be fun. So,
All right.
and we have a name. We have the name Catalyst 222. It's going to be the podcast.
Oh, because it's a catalyst. Okay, it is. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
that. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Anthony.
Of course. Enjoy.
All right. Thanks.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye.